Thank you for coming out today. I think we have a very exciting panel. I'm Tim Pullen, one of the co-founders of All Digital. We're a company that helps content owners get their services to device. Today's panel is going to hit on that theme and one of the other big themes that I see out there. There's two really kind of most exciting things in digital media right now that are happening in the connected device space and then the Facebook presence. And so bringing those two things together is
I want you to make it better if you had like
so on our panel today, we have some people that are making
input
it
into my
happen.
camera.
So I'll start at the end
So I
there.
get good audio for
Nick
this.
from Citizen
Okay.
Global.
It'd just be XL1 or 2.
Next we have Ben James from Facebook. He works on their ad platforms and media team. And Mitzi Ray from Miramax, who recently launched the Miramax Experience, a connected device experience on the Facebook platform. Great, so let's start it off with a question for Ben at Facebook. On Thursday night, it used to be on broadcast television. A lot of the media and entertainment companies really targeted that night to drive big box office for that upcoming weekend. That broadcast audience was somewhere between 20 and 40 million viewers. Describe a little bit about the reach of the Facebook platform and how the media companies are using the platform to target.
Yeah, definitely. So when I think about kind of going on a Thursday night broad experience and reaching a target audience of 30, 40 million, it's a shotgun form of approach. We're reaching several audiences under several conditions, under several circumstances, different ages, different gender, different audience segments at a national level. And so what Facebook is actually doing is taking not only this kind of approach in the sense of more of a traditional media, but we're taking the sense that traditional media takes, where it's like this shotgun approach and a segment. We actually can deconstruct that down and give you the opportunity to isolate an audience that's within an audience. So when you're taking this approach, whether it's through TV or any form of traditional media, what you're doing is you're going out and saying, say we're going to advertise to women on Lifetime, something to this effect. Well, there's a lot of different types of women that exist, that are fans of Lifetime. So, with Facebook, we actually provide the opportunity to say, okay, for this specific film that we're producing, for this particular effort, we're taking an audience of 18 to 25-year-old females who prefer Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, more of a pop traditional sense, and we're going to advertise this film to this direct audience. And in that sense, instead of taking that broad category and saying, okay, we're going to advertise to a crowd of 40 million with the hopes of isolating 10% of that 4 million, and that 4 million we hope that 2 million will go actually participate. We can actually start with the 2 million, eliminate all of the waste that's around that, and say, okay, here's 2 million people that want to see your film. It's now your responsibility to advertise on that.
Pretty powerful things. Mitch, I'll bring up an example of the Miramax Experience here really quick. Maybe just kind of walk through some of the things that studios are coming on with.
Thanks, Tim. Good morning, everyone. Glad to be here today. So Miramax launched the Experience app in late August, which was a 20-title application that allowed users on Facebook to watch clips for free and rent films. And what we did with launching this app is we were really the first app out there to allow users to rent more than one movie. And we're focused on building out the Miramax brand and helping consumers find new content. And one of the things that we're doing differently on the platform, on the Facebook platform, is really leveraging the consumer data that users make available to help them find content that's relevant to them. So for example, we currently right now have within our Miramax network over 15 million fans. So these are fans directly of Miramax and of our films. And when we look at the fans associated with the talent that produces for our films, we're over 60 million fans. We consider this a Miramax network and a group of fans that we can talk to. And the amazing thing about Facebook, to what Ben was saying, is that in addition to the direct fans and the people you have a connection with, you can also target people on their likes and interests. So to launch our app, one of the things that we did to support it was to launch an advertising campaign where we targeted people who were fans of certain actors or actresses or films and recommended to them if they liked the film that maybe they should come on the app and see it or find their actor in the app. For example, if you're a fan of Catherine Zeta-Jones, come watch her in Rented Chicago. So that's one of the ways that we found Facebook to be a pretty powerful platform, is this way that users opt in and provide their data and their information about their interests, and we can help serve other content and other apps of interest to them.
Very, very cool. So one of the other things that was kind of unique, you want to talk to me, just go into a little bit more detail, was there's kind of two things when you're a studio. You have the Miramax brand, and then you mentioned some great under brands that, you know, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Chicago. You have, I think, like 100 of the top box office grossing films of all time out there. So explain a little bit, maybe kind of some of the strategies that employ to balance with the Miramax brand and also the films and the actors.
Well, we're pretty lucky with the Miramax brand. We've done some brand research and found in the U.S. population we have 89% brand recognition, which is pretty strong. We've been surprised by that. We're thrilled, of course. And our brand stands for high quality and original programming and films. So what we've tried to do is use that brand of Miramax and complement it with our films. Clearly, we have some great titles, including Kill Bill, The Country for Old Men, many others that users are fans of. So we try to balance the fans of the network with also the fans of the brand. And ultimately, as you can see on the app here, you see sort of at the top above those films, other films you might like. This is a precursor to what we're developing, which is really a recommendation engine. So based on what clips people watch, what movies people rent, and what other films they're fans of, we're going to be able to generate customized lists for them of other films they might like. And also pulling into the data that they provide in Facebook in terms of what shows they're fans and what films they're fans of. And we think the Miramax brand, because it has this patina of quality, is something that people will trust and be willing to let us make recommendations and become a way for them to help discover new content.
So, James, we'll get to Nick here in a quick while. James, I had a question for you. So, we talked a little bit about the targeting. I have a browser open here. I thought maybe when you showed me this back in March when we were starting the strategy together for Miramax, pretty much any advertiser and marketer that sees this tool gets pretty excited about it. So I'm bringing up the ad targeting tool at Facebook that lets you kind of pick an audience. So maybe you could just kind of walk. I think people see that on screen pretty good there. So I thought maybe you could just kind of walk me through some of the things that you can do in terms of what I'm looking at here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, obviously everyone hears about the target, so depending on your level of familiarity with the targeting tool and some of the things that we do, it sounds great. I can isolate my audience, as Nancy's outlining here. She's saying, you know, we can take our films and go to a particular group of people that like this actor and so forth. But to actually see it, to see how it functions, to understand simplicity is very, very important, because if you realize how instant, you know, the tool itself is readily available to you, and that it's something you can access within your own studio, within your own company, and really, really make the most out of without a tremendous amount of effort up front. But then also, too, from there you develop a skill set that really allows you to target things. So, as you can see here, and I can kind of see around it, but basically,
So I'm in that country field there. So
yeah.
So I see over here I have a certain number of people that are targeted to Metallica. That must have been my preference. So we're targeting Metallica fans, and it's about almost 5 million Metallica fans strong. So maybe I want to add in some Guns N' Roses fans as well.
That's exactly right. So you can see very simply that it starts out at the top with the country targeting, and then from there moves into age and gender segmentation. So you have age opportunities, gender opportunities, and then as you move down, you've got precise interest.
I'm going to look for a little bit older Metallica fans.
Yeah, that sounds great.
The Kenny G Metallica fans.
Exactly. So the interesting thing about this is it right here in terms of the opportunity. But if you think about it, once you start diving into this is your ability to reach 800 million Facebook users. We recently crossed 800 million. We are fast on the way to 1 billion. So the thing about it is you have to think about this audience size. With this simple tool, you're actually able to extract the group of people that you're seeking out just through these basic targeting techniques. So let's say it's a domestic film. We keep it to the United States. Let's say it's an appealing to an 18 to 25-year-old male category. We can set that right here. From there, we can dive into precise interest. And as Tim's going through now, let's say, you know, if we're talking about Metallica or somebody who likes heavy metal, we can then outline several heavy metal bands. And you'll see that it produces a real-time number of audience that we can reach. This is it in terms of where you need to start. But you can also see from going from there, and as Miramax has done on several levels, is have the ability to hone in specific audiences. They range in size, everything from 100,000 to 4 or 5+ million people, even 10 million, 20 million, want to go there, about who they can target and using this tool. Can do so. Again, using the specific interests, women in a particular category, men in a particular category, and so forth.
So
Oh, go ahead,
And
Miss.
the thing I would add is just that we found when we do provide really targeted advertising, so for example, in my example of if you like Catherine Zeta-Jones, come watch her in Chicago, we get amazing response rates, not only within our app and watching clips and renting films, but also becoming fans of our brand and of our pages. And as you know, when you collect those fans on your site, you have the ability to go back to them and communicate to them continually through the news feed, assuming it's relevant content. So, I would say that with the targeting, we found it to be a very efficient and very effective way to get users engaged and understanding what we're providing.
Yeah, thinking about it from your own seats, you log on to Facebook, ads are presenting themselves, different forms of media are presenting themselves in terms of solicitation. If you have something there that's relevant to you, it's because someone has crafted that message to speak directly to you. It's going to be more relevant. If you have something pop up for a pair of shoes, well, that's great, but what kind of shoes are they? Are you an outdoors person or are you, a city person with business shoes? I mean, there's just you can bridge any gap, go across any product and really understand the power of the tool. And especially when you're dealing with a content as engaging as media, as engaging as film, this is, the bread and butter. You're reaching out to something that's passionate, that people are passionate about. So you're really delivering a concise message.
So Nick, speaking of passions, I think you have a really good example of putting this into practice. There's a great music festival. I don't know if anybody's been to the Warped Tour before, but if you grew up skating in Orange County like myself, Vans is a great brand. They put on a great music festival, and they wanted to kind of bring that to Facebook. Explain kind of that process. Okay, now you've targeted the user, but in additionally to target the user, you got them to the page. You don't have the benefits of billions of dollars worth of titles like a Miramax. How does a brand like Vans kind of, what can they do with this targeting ability?
Right. So what we found is, in the example we're talking about right now is mostly around media consumption, and we're actually on the media co-creation side. So we leverage Facebook with our brands to build them a social studio. And in the social studio, it allows the brand or entertainment producer to create an environment where they're able to outreach to their audience or participation, or in this case, the kids at Warped Tour with mohawks and tattoos and you name it, for their participation in media around this topic. So, for example, with the Warped Tour project, it was, hey everybody, there's 44 stops around the nation. Kids, please, use your Android apps or your iPhone apps, our Facebook application, and share your story, your experience at the Warped Tour. And it's a call and response studio, so the asks are very specific, so you're not just getting a bit bucket of information. And what we found was that Warped was able to, very simply reach out using Facebook's sharing tools, make mentions at the events, provide mobile device tools for, capturing and submitting video. And we got a ton of really phenomenal amount of video coming in from these users. And what that allowed for was the sharing of this content and the co-creation of editing this content online together and pushing that back out to Facebook's, their Facebook profiles, Facebook walls, sharing it with their friends. And what we found was, in terms of advertising and get the word out, the buzz was around earned media. We basically call it, with the social studio, you can turn UGC, user-generated content, into social media capital. And we find social media capital is content that you have the rights management towards. You have a rights relationship with the user who's submitting it. You've got the information and a contact using Facebook technology. And the earned value of the people talking about your brand is really impactful. So it drives, instead of a paid media, which is creating an ad and pushing it out there and hoping it hits eyeballs, it's actually allowing for people to talk about your brand or your product, or in this case, the Warped Tour Music Festival. And we found that it's really deep engagement. Hearing your friend show a piece of media that they've created from the Warped Tour and sharing it drove a lot of impact and engagement around the brand, which for Vans, for example, got out to a lot of eyeballs. So that's how we drive it.
So Mitzi, probably one of the questions the audience has out here is how far along is the platform? Some of the stuff that on Facebook is, maybe announced 3 months ago, 6 months ago. It hasn't been around for 10 years. A lot of the technologies we're talking about are very new and fun. In digital media, you were involved with a startup called Hulu, and you saw that in the early days, and then it's now kind of almost a household name. Maybe compare and contrast where you see some of the Facebook platform features in the media space are today versus where you think they'll be 3 to 4 years out.
Well, I think the exciting thing about working on the Facebook platform is it really is a platform, and there's so many enabling technologies that allow you as a media company or any developer really to optimize your experience. We chose to build out this application on Facebook for a couple reasons. One is that it had the audience, as Ben mentioned, 800 million people. Second is that through Facebook Connect, it allows users to easily log into a system. So as many of you know, launching a new service, registration could sometimes be a barrier. Facebook Connect drops that barrier. And one of the things we did with our app is we actually made it multi-platform. So you can watch it on the internet through your PC on Facebook.com, but if you access it through your iPad or your Google TV, you can also access the app with all the clips and the videos you've purchased, and you simply log in through Facebook Connect. So that ability to have sort of a single sign-on is crucial. Second, the Facebook credits, I think, is at the very beginning stages. Certainly the gaming companies have had a lot of success in terms of using that as a currency, and we are really a believer in that as a simple way for users to purchase content and to transact in a safe and secure way. And what that enables to us is an international platform, a payment platform. So our app right now is currently live in 6 countries, including US, UK, Turkey, and the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Egypt, and we'll be adding more over the next few months. And we see this platform as a way to really build out a direct-to-consumer channel for our business, and with enabling Facebook as the platform and the payment engine and the sign-on. So I think those building blocks is what's exciting. And when I went to the F8 conference a few weeks ago, I was excited to see what Facebook's rolling out with a new timeline. And I think what's great about Facebook is the way that they're continually evolving and innovating to make the experience more engaging. And you heard for F8 it was about media, but ultimately at the end of the day, Facebook is about friends and about connecting with people. So we're excited to continue building out the app and looking at ways you can share the content and share the experience with your friends, because ultimately that's what brings people online and that's what connects them. And so I think that continual evolution will be fun to be part of and to watch.
We're finding with the brands that we're working with that we want to bring our technology where their audience is, and we're finding Facebook is really where they all want to be. So we found with Facebook Connect and Facebook application building has been very critical for us, especially with the turns that Facebook is taking towards being a media hub. Is a really powerful tool and way of engaging users at a deeper level, seeing what their friends are watching, seeing what their friends are listening to, what they're consuming, and what they're even creating, in our case, allows for a real circle of collaboration.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, and tying it back to your earlier point, Tim, in that the media world is more and more fragmented. So I think the ability to know what your friends like and what your friends watch is a pretty powerful way to discover new content, and will continue to be a pretty powerful driver of usage on Facebook.
Yeah, perfect segue between the two. That's the one common theme that you'll see in what Nick and Mitzi are doing and what we're trying to promote, which is you hear this discussion about friends and sharing with your friends and knowing what your friends are doing. Social is not a blip on the radar. It's not a trend. And we are just the people that have embraced it with the most aggressive attitude, which is why we have the position we do. But look, there's other social networks. There's Twitter, there's LinkedIn, and any other infinite amount of ways that people are connecting and sharing content. What we're trying to do is build the most open and resourceful platform to do just that, and with that, using and leveraging our user base to promote these kinds of products without doing anything on our own. The users are taking care of that by themselves. The share factor and the exchange is what you want your films doing, your content doing across the site. And if you embrace that and actually dive in and start to understand it, you'll be the ones that actually can kind of control and deliver that as you choose, rather than having it be out of your control or sticking with the old traditional methods. It's an opportunity that, when embraced, can really, really be powerful.
So one of the things that's kind of exciting about Facebook and digital platforms is jumping in. And so a lot of the historical research out there, a lot of things that have worked historically aren't digital. So I'll give you an example of when I was at USC in the film marketing class. The CMO of Warner taught the class, Sandy, and he would be able to guess the opening box office within a few $1,000s every week. It was amazing. But he did it all based upon his TV ad buys and his tracking sheet from Nielsen. And I used to say, I'm in digital media. He's like, great, turn on the projector. We're going to watch a film tonight. And you know, the role of digital media has gotten a lot more significant inside the studios. So you know, maybe everybody, if you could give one tip to the, you know, the studios, the content owners out there that maybe transitioning more into a digital strategy, what would be that one tip?
I would say getting your consumers to talk about your brand is what we find is really critical to us. It's earned media for us, which is you know, letting them tell their friends about it, create media around that, the products that they're you know, trying to sell is a way for driving deeper engagement.
Just understanding the power and capability of the tools that we're talking about. You know, really embracing it and knowing that the ability to actually weed out the waste of what has traditionally worked and actually bringing it home. If I open up a newspaper and I see a 4-color full-page right-hand read, that's great. If I'm a 65-year-old guy looking for a food review, then the new Green Hornet doesn't necessarily pertain to me, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a wasted impression. That's a wasted thing. Use the tools, understand the tools, really embrace the tools, and know how they can work for you.
I think one of the most exciting and challenging things about being successful in digital is just the continual innovation. So the nice thing about traditional media, TV and film, is you work really hard and you produce an episode or a film and it's done. And you know, you put it out there and it's successful or it's not, and you sort of move on to the next project. The thing that I love about digital, but is also challenging, is you launch your app or you launch your new service, and the next hour you're going, well, we got to tweak this copy, it's confusing because our users told us this, or the metrics are saying this, let's continue to enhance this. So I guess my one piece of advice would just be to continually test and innovate and learn and grow, because I think that that's really, you know, the internet's alive and changing, and so you have to continue to keep up with it, and that's the exciting part of the opportunity.
So the one term that I think on social media sometimes it gets a little in the soft arts category, and so I think in media and entertainment we're often judged by, you know, very tactical things: how many movies you sold, how many people showed up to the concert. It's very revenue generated focused. So there's a strategy versus value kind of argument. So maybe talk about some of the tools there where you can say, hey, I spent this much money and I made this much money, and where are we at with that on the platform right now?
I think we found, you know, with for example, working with also the Susan Cohen Group, which is a cancer survival, you know, breast awareness group, and it's all about telling impactful stories and creating tools for engagement around those stories. And so for us, for example, with the Komen Group, the call to action was, you know, what would you have missed if you had not gotten yourself checked for breast cancer? And we've seen these incredible stories coming in. And I'm not the kind of guy who cries at a movie, but some of the stories that have come in, I've started tearing up a little bit. So it's a really impactful content is what we're generating. So the impressions that we're getting, you know, the cost that they're inputting for our social studio is pretty low, and the return that they're getting is valuable media that they have the rights to, that they can push out to their audience and build awareness for their brands. So in terms of our revenue generating, it's been from the perspective of marketing dollars, really, and getting that impact and awareness of the brand. And we've also seen some of our customers, we're starting some relationships with some major entertainment companies, and we're seeing that the production of the media is the actual product. So for example, with TV shows, it's reaching out to the audience, getting content coming in at really no cost or low cost, and being able to create dynamic media content out of it and put it on TV and slap advertising and marketing against it. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but.
Yeah, so Ben, you probably get this question a lot, of where people are going to be comparing and contrasting, right? They say like, okay, I'm going to spend 10 grand. What's going to be my, what's going to be my my hit rate? What's going to be what's going to funnel out at the end? You're going just a traditional kind of lead funnel model. Mm-hmm. Is this still a good platform, or is this just all about the brand?
Well, what's changing about it is the strategy, as you mentioned. So what we get presented with is, every time we talk to a new client, there's never ever the same case. We have people who are interested in fan acquisition, and they're interested in developing this, source where they can now continually message people, for an indefinite amount of time. We have people like Mitzi, who comes in, is interested in conversion. and people, actual app usage, people watching the films and doing the things like this. Any number of brands have any number of objectives. So what we do is we have so many things at our disposal with the kind of user base that we have that we really customize the experience to best fit you, to accomplish what you're looking to do. So that's why somebody like, Coke can come, or any of the Procter & Gamble products can come. And, whereas everything they do is a branding ploy, because of that disconnect between what's on the shelf and your actual effort, they're doing certain things and they have certain measurements on their sides. It's a little bit, it's a little more convoluted, but somebody like Spotify, who you guys have all probably heard of now, that their integration comes in and they've got one goal: user acquisition, user acquisition. They want people using their service to message out and share their content, which is, obviously music. And you've got tremendous success there. Again, the way they've achieved that and accomplished that is because they're the most committed to the platform. They've created a device that allows their friends to share at a rapid pace, massive bundles of content. And it's all, circumvented back through what they were initially set out to do, which was, we want to acquire users, both subscriber and free, so that we can sell advertising inventory and work off subscription price and translate it in. So really it's about the level of investment up front and the continual belief in the platform that's really going to get you where you need to go.
But I would also just say, adding to Nick's point earlier, the opportunity to hear back from your fans and hear back what people think about your brand and what you're doing is an amazing feedback mechanism. And it's also, really rewarding. It's really fun when our team posts a blog, posts a post on our fan network, and you see all the comments, in a minute. It's pretty rewarding experience to sort of hear what people are thinking about and what's on their mind.
Yeah, very true.
Mitzi, one of the points on the Miramax experience in Facebook that's really interesting is just a quick survey of the audience. How many people in the audience use an iPhone? How many people in the audience use an Android device? BlackBerry users? Yeah, still got like a lot of hands. See? So one of the things is with using the Facebook Connect architecture, you're not limited to one screen or one device, and so you have the ability to entitle your media with your Facebook account and then watch it on any platform. You're one of the first companies to do this. What's been the feedback from the consumers? Do they like that model?
Yeah, the feedback has been great. I mean, we really, when we were thinking about building out this app, we wanted it to be, around the Miramax brand, something that had staying power. And we thought a lot about which platform to use and where did we want to launch this first and how to grow it. And as I mentioned, that was part of the reason we chose Facebook, but we took a little bit of learnings from Netflix, right? One of the amazing things about Netflix is you can access your Netflix account on over 200 different devices and different platforms, and you have that same experience, whatever device you're going to. Now, we're certainly not at the level that they're at, but that was the vision, and I think that what I've seen with consumers is usage is more and more fragmented on different devices, yet at the same time, people want it on the screen that they're with, right? If you're sitting here, you want to be able to access it on your iPhone, where at home, you might want to watch it on your TV. So the ability to be where the consumers are and where they want the content is really important, and I think is a way that you can gain scale over time.
Anything to add to that, Nick, or?
Not really.
Great. Well, with that, I think we have some time for some Q&A, and we can take some questions from the audience. So we have a brave soul for the first question. And I'll repeat the question back. Go ahead.
Morning, everyone. Shai Ben Moshe, Managing Director of Content ID Group. And my question is, I'm wondering how one manages that integration between leveraging the social aspects and the friends versus the traditional with the ad targeting and spending ad dollars and so forth. Is that something that's just still coming more or less from a gut level? Or is the platform evolving so that there's that intelligence built in through their dashboards or what have you to help folks define how they move forward and clarify their strategy and what's working and what's not? And I'm wondering from each of the speakers how they're proceeding with it, and in particular from Ben, if you guys are building tools that enable that kind of inherent intelligence.
I'll start, and then you guys can give examples of how it's happened. So there is an intuitive nature about the ad creative flow tool and some of the marketing efforts. But the nice thing about Facebook too is that regardless of what your brand is, anybody in this room, regardless even if your company's close but a little divergent from something else, you will be able to take the platform and customize it to what you know best and use the tools and industry knowledge that you have to then take what we've created in our native tools and actually approach those audiences. So it's intuitive in the sense that as you're building things and creating things, it'll give you suggestions, it'll talk about, hey, maybe you should be thinking about these categories and so forth. But overall, what it'll be is a scenario whereas if you understand the audience that's always been successful for you, the ones that are actually, maybe purchasing a ticket or taking in the content or sharing the content in some other capacity outside of us, you'll be able to actually go in there and find that we've got a resource and database that really allows you to tap in, utilize your own knowledge from your own industry, and then actually really push that forward, create these audiences, and then push that forward. So it's really specific to the industry itself. There is an intuitive aspect to it, and while you do it, it's funny, like I said, this is the start demo, but then you go from this all the way down to where you're doing granular, deep dive targeting and segmenting audiences and A/B testing and API tools are involved and everything else. But that's all being done on your knowledge from your industry and using our tools to conduct it. Yeah.
I think analytics are critical, both technical analytics on what bit rates users are watching, how the video is playing back, and how people are getting stuck at what stage of registration and all of that, to tactical things of these ads are pulling better than those ads. So I think you have to have analytics as part of any platform nowadays. Great, let's go with another question here. We got down in front.
Hi there. With the Facebook Connect platform, do you have the ability to continue to do the recommendations and targeting on the other applications, not the one that's on the Facebook platform, but on, say, Google TV or the other devices?
We're still building that out.
Yeah, so the good news is that the data, so all of the commentary, all the posts, all of the analytics that you generate goes back to one central account, which is your Facebook account. And then you can leverage that data across any platform. So comments, recommendations, other things can show up on the iPad, Android, other devices. So you're not fragmented that you're building one silo of data for this platform and that platform. You'd be able to go across device with the same data set. Does that answer your question? Okay. We got down here. I should make them run around a little bit and get Miguel some exercise. It's all good.
Mitzi, I just wanted to ask you, with the Miramax experience, have you found more viewers coming in through Facebook or directly through the site? Like how effective has it been from a platform perspective?
Well, we've been really happy with it so far from a platform perspective, and we've seen good traffic from sort of really three sources. One is our existing fan network, so obviously we communicate to our fans about our app, and then when we make changes to the app or add new films. Secondly is through our paid media and the advertising that we've done on the Facebook platform. And third is through referrals for friends. And actually that third piece is one piece that we're going to be building out over the next few months in terms of getting it more social and building in more places for people to tell their friends what they're doing and share with their friends. Because we think that'll be a crucial way to grow user growth over time.
We found in our applications, we found it very impactful to leverage the Facebook Connect for the data and just as much as you can bringing in friends who've added this application, things of that nature really make it feel more like home when you walk into it.
I have a question for Mitzi. Regarding Miramax, was Miramax the first studio to take this? That's my first question. And secondly, is this the future of content distribution? How does, say, Netflix feel about Miramax going direct right to the audience?
Well, okay, to answer both your questions. First off, we weren't the first studio to do it, but we were the first studio to build an app that had more than one film in it, right? So as Miramax, one of our focuses is maximizing the value of our library. And we think the Miramax brand, as I mentioned before, is a gateway to sort of quality content. So when we invested in this platform and in building out the app, we wanted to develop an app that could be a continual destination for people to come find content, rather than just building it around one film for which there would be no crossover from one film to another film. So it's really a long-term vision that hopefully this will be a place where people continually say, oh, I can come back to, I can find new clips, this new movie's up, this new movie's down, et cetera. In terms of the business model, the film world and TV world as well have very different windows in terms of content. So this falls into the home entertainment content window, which would include DVD sales, VOD, which is online rental, and EST, which is download to own or purchase of a digital copy. which is a different model and a different window than Netflix, which is subscription-based services. And we think it's a very different consumer offering to people. I think one of the great things about Netflix is you sign up for a fixed fee per month and you can discover content and find things that you want to watch, but you're not necessarily going there for a specific film. Direct-to-consumer channels and purchase-based services are for people who are looking for a specific film that they want to watch. And it's an important part of the ecosystem. They both are. Does that answer the question?
This question's pretty much for everybody, but are you noticing brands producing less, their own videos for promoting, marketing, and wanting to bring in more user-generated video, like what Nick was mentioning? And as a follow-up to that, what were the results from the Warped Tour?
Specific question. I can't remember what the level of impressions were. There was something like 8 million impressions. That ranged from tweets to Facebook videos to videos on Facebook to comments to voting. Pretty deep level impact and engagement we had on the Warped Tour. In general, to answer the question, that's mostly what our business is about. We'll find that if user-generated content really is critical towards our offering, but we have found also that some customers will create their own content, and then as a product, say might be a Miramax film, and the social media campaign around that might be creating content and media around that core object. So we've seen a mixture of both on our side.
Yeah, basically with kind of all of the things that we've been talking about in terms of, actually creating these customized, I guess messaging type of aspects for the brand and for the different things that they're doing. We've seen lots of different things. People are using it in a promotional capacity in some cases, and then in others they're actually, in the case of Miramax and some of these others, they're distributing specific content that they want affiliated with their brand, or specific content that they want to actually promote their brand. So the short and condensed answer is, yeah, most certainly. I mean, we see a deeper embrace of the platform. We see more expansive opportunities in terms of whether it's video or any other method of I guess rebrand messaging, however you want to phrase it. So yeah, most definitely.
I would say in general, in terms of our brands producing more of their own film, video content or using user-generated, I would say it really depends on the brand. I think in general there's an overall goal to get more user feedback, but that might be around your own produced video and segments or through user-submitted video and segments, so it depends. I don't think, from what I've heard just talking to different brands, and you guys might have a different perspective, that anyone's sort of determined yet if user-generated is better or their own produced video. I think it depends on the objectives and where the traction is with their users.
Yeah, I mean, just as like a marriage between the two, it's like Harlem Globetrotters right now is running a promotion, whereas, they're trying to revive, like the Harlem Globetrotters, we all knew them like from the old day, where they're a really prolific team, they have all these things, so they're doing this thing right now where they're taking user-generated content and combining it with their own, so they're promoting the team by having users turn in trick shots, right? Any kind of shot they can do, and then the team's trying to duplicate it, and then doing different things like this. So it's this connection that's breaking down the technological barrier to establishing a connection with your user, your consumer, which obviously is going to create the largest amount of appeal.
Great. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out today. And before we leave, I thought it'd be great just because follow-ups and next steps. I could see we have a lot of interest in the audience. You're a media buyer. You want to spend money on Facebook to gain audience. Where do they go, Ben?
You come right over to me.
Yeah, I would say.
No, I'm here. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I've actually got a couple team members of mine as well, so I'd be happy to chat with you afterwards. Yeah.
Nick, you're an up-and-coming brand that wants to leverage Facebook to aggregate new content that you have the rights to. Where do they go?
Come on over to me. I'll be right over here on the corner.
Got a website, Citizen Global?
CitizenGlobal.com. CitizenGlobal.com is where you want to go.
And then everybody this Friday night is going to be watching your favorite Miramax movie on the app, right, Mitzi?
Yes, try out the app, send us your feedback, the good, the bad, the ugly. We're continually trying to improve, so
and this is a very tough room, by the way, so it gets
I know,
lots
we
of
need
great
it.
feedback.
Yeah, we need the power testers around here, so yes, any feedback is always welcome.
And then I'm Tim, and our website's alldigital.com, and we have some white papers and case studies and things that we we can share on this, and happy to get education going for that. So thank you very much, and thanks for coming out to Streaming Media West.
Thanks for having us.